We interrupt. There's been a late development. Shots reported fired outside the hotel where President Reagan spoke a short while ago.
This is a special report.
The president has not been hit.
President Reagan was wounded during an assassination attempt on his life.
Here you see the president coming out now. We just have to watch. I don't know whether we can hear this or not. There's shots fired. We understand also that James Brady, the White House press secretary, was among those injured.
Jim was a hell of a man. Jim had a heart the size of a locomotive.
He was this kind of quiet presence, canny.
Jim was irreverent and funny and witty and sardonic.
Jim not only was a true professional, but he had a Midwestern way about him and a great sense of humor.
He had a very even temper, an almost sweetness to him.
Well, we met through politics.
We met at a Republican National Committee cocktail party.
And I said, aha, meet that young woman. And I met that young woman.
But that night, I really did feel something immediately.
They had a great love affair. They were perfectly matched. They both loved the political fight.
Today marks the first presidential news conference of the Reagan administration.
In the press corps, everybody loved him, and he let us see more than just the guy in the office, and that created a friendship. He had that unusual way of making you feel that he was totally in the middle. He would represent us to the president and represent the president to us.
Jim Brady was an extraordinary press secretary for Ronald Reagan. He had a big bear-like presence. You know, you could just see that tall man that he was.
I always thought that the nickname fit. I mean, he was the bear. He knew what his role was, which is to take care of his candidate. And he had a very wicked, droll sense of humor, which he would kind of cut to the chase in a hurry.
I wouldn't tell you something if it wasn't the truth.
Jim Brady was the best, and I think all of the former press secretaries would agree he was the best liked, the most honest, the most direct. He had access to the president because the president trusted him so much.
He was in seventh heaven. It was like this was everything he'd ever wanted in his life.
And then tragically, our life changed again forever.
And Jim Brady's condition, there has been no further word on that.
James Brady, the press secretary who was shot in the head, is said not to be doing well.
You know, after it was obvious that he was going to survive, I remember the first time I saw him, he'd say, "Leslie, how are you?" And he still had the same almost jolly friendliness to him.
Jim and Sarah Brady were a team, and Sarah was by his side through this entire struggle.
Sarah Brady has become well known in the circuits on Capitol Hill, relentlessly pursuing members of Congress, pushing for stricter and tougher gun control regulations.
Jim and Sarah decided to fight for gun control legislation. They put their personal face on this issue, made a difference. The NRA was very powerful.
The opposition to even opening a debate about it was immense, fierce, very well financed, and deeply felt by a lot of people.
So I understand that many of you are intimidated by the gun lobby, but you've got to look squarely at the facts. Law enforcement says the Brady bill will work. The polls tell us that 91% of your constituents support it. What other issue enjoys such public support? Well, damn it, don't let the vocal minority dictate your position. Politically, it's a winner. Morally, it's the right thing to do. There are too many cowardly lions walking the halls of Congress. I fight every day to maintain the courage I need to survive. I pray that Congress can find the courage to quickly pass the Brady bill.
The legislation has failed in every session of Congress since 1987.
By the time we reached the early 1990s, at least some hope that the Brady bill was going to get passed.
It was a real turning point when Ronald Reagan endorsed the Brady bill. And the fact that he came out in favor of background checks and the 5-day waiting period made all the difference.
You do know that I'm a member of the NRA. and my position on the right to bear arms is well known. But I want you to know something else, and I'm going to say it in clear, unmistakable language. I support the Brady bill, and I urge the Congress to enact it without future.
President Clinton, he supported the bill. I don't think there's a prayer without his support for it.
Brady says a new president will change things this year.
We finally have someone at the other end of the avenue who's for the bill, who not only will sign it, but who's helping wherever he can.
Don't tell me this bill will not make a difference. That is not true. And when I go and sign this bill in a minute, it will be step one in taking our streets back, taking our children back, reclaiming our families and our future. Thank you.
You know, when you think about it, I don't know if there's any American who's responsible for directly saving as many lives as Jim and Sarah Brady.
I give Jim and Sarah so much credit for their courage and for their consistency and for their determination.
What a tremendous accomplishment it was for Jim, not only to stay alive, but to manage to lead a life of meaning, a life of purpose, a life that mattered, a life that counted against all odds.
Sarah and Jim were a team, and the fight goes on with legions of supporters because he was such a passionate advocate and so fearless and so courageous.
I want to win. I'm a Vince Lombardi when it comes to that. You didn't know that, did you?
Yeah, I did.
That you married Vince Lombardi.
I know you want to win.